I just finished up watching Apple's September special event, and to no one's surprise, iPhone 12 did not debut. They made that immediately clear by saying today we're focusing on two categories, Apple Watch and iPad. And to get the exciting news out of the way first, let's first talk about what's new with iPad. First of all, the 7th gen iPad has been refreshed. We now have an 8th gen, which is essentially the same thing. There's been no change to the design at all, except internally, there's now an A12 inside. So we got updated specs basically, which is nice to see. I'm happy that Apple still cares about their entry-level iPad and won't continue to sell it with pretty outdated silicon at this point. The A10 was getting a little bit old, so it's nice to see a refresh in the hardware once again. They made a big deal about how iPadOS 14 will run very nicely on this tablet, and indeed it will. It's been running really great on my iPad mini and my iPad Air 3, which both have A12 processors. So yeah, the baseline iPad is now a more powerful and compelling machine to buy, especially for first-time Apple users. But now let's talk about the major iPad refresh, or maybe even the biggest product refresh of this event, and that is the brand new iPad Air 4, which is now more expensive, but for good reason, I guess. It is an all-new design, or basically it's been iPad Pro-fied. It is a slab tab look now with USB Type-C, with stereo speakers, and a full-screen 10.9-inch display. Not quite 11 inches, but I think that Apple wants to keep this tablet a little bit different, and they want to keep the iPad Pro a little bit more competitive in some ways, and that's also why they didn't include ProMotion or 120 Hz in this tablet as well. But it has many of the iPad Pro features, once again, that I've mentioned. It also supports Apple Pencil 2nd Gen. It attaches right to the side. It also has Touch ID in the power button. No Face ID in this device, probably because Face ID tech is kind of expensive, and once again, they want the iPad Pro to be Pro. There's also new silicon in this device. iPad Air will be the first publicly known Apple product with the A14 inside. It is a 5nm process, and I'm really excited to see how this processor performs, especially in its A14X variant with this, once again, newer, smaller architecture. Another notable feature of this iPad Air 4 is its brand new, or rather recycled, camera setup from the iPad Pro 2018. It is a 12-megapixel back-facing camera capable of 4K 60 and a front 7-megapixel selfie cam that is capable of 1080p 60. So a nice upgrade in the camera department as well. So yeah, that's what's new with iPad. I'm very excited to test these devices out and compare them to previous gen products and also current gen products as well. I want to see how the iPad Pro and the iPad Air stack up, especially the 2018 model compared to the Air 4, because they do share a lot of common qualities. Next up though, let's talk about Apple Watch Series 6 and the new Apple Watch SE real quick here. So the Series 6 isn't quite revolutionary, but it is a pretty substantial update. We got some new colorways, product red and also a blue aluminum color. We got new bands, which will sort of form fit to your wrist if you buy the right size, which I do enjoy. There's also blood oxygen monitoring, which is super important, especially now with the pandemic going on. So that's a cool feature to see. And they also introduced some Fitness Plus services with the Apple Watch, with all Apple Watches for that matter. But this is a point that was sort of hit home during the presentation, and it seems like Apple is really doubling down on the fitness aspect of watch, especially because, you know, gyms are closed for the time being. There's also a brand new Apple Watch SE, which is very much like the Series 5 and 4, has a similar display, similar look, has an S5 processor in it, a little bit less powerful than the S6 found in the Series 6, which is based off the A13, but I digress. Both are powerful watches, and I'm happy to see that Apple is offering a more budget and newer-ish Apple Watch for $279, and of course the Series 6 goes for $399, and the Apple Watch Series 3 is still being sold for $199, so they have diversified their watch lineup as it's become more popular. And they also launched Apple One, which is a new sort of combined service. I'll let you see the details of that. I don't quite remember everything that has to do with it, but basically they bundle a bunch of different services together, like Apple iCloud and TV Plus and Fitness Plus and music together for a more affordable price, still higher than like the individual cost of, you know, one service, but they bundle it together to encourage you to use more of their services, so that's great. And yeah, that's basically everything new with Apple for right now. We should expect an iPhone event in October and some newer products coming in October as well, maybe like AirTags and some other things, maybe like an updated HomePod and AirPod Studios, but we'll see. It's all up in the air right now, but yeah, very excited to check out these new iPads. I will cover them as soon as I possibly can, and yeah, as always, I'm Noah, and I will catch you all in the next one.